Yo, what's poppin', guys? You got your boy Nandra here. Welcome to another video. So as you can see from the deck roulette, I'm playing some aggro blood. Now, initially I wasn't even gonna do this video, but then like after what happened, I was like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and do these videos just so I can go ahead and like try to educate some people, educate myself at the same time. So I know a lot of people like think that like aggro is like easy or whatever, but like no, it's actually there are actually a few points that are actually kind of hard. I mean, obviously you're gonna get those like games where like your opponent just like gets like one drop, two drop, three drop. They're going first. You can't do anything about it. You get steamrolled. But there are actually some games where like it does in fact the choices you make as aggro do in fact matter. So I'm gonna like hop into these games. So like these first two games, these are like steamrolling games. These are pretty funny and I enjoyed them a lot. But but for these other games, they weren't quite as steamrolling. So I'm gonna show you guys. So there's gonna be like 4 games total, maybe 5, but probably just 4. Alright, so I'm going first with Shadow. So the other good part about this was that like, I won the most important battle of them all. I got to go first each and every time. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss back the Vite. I'm looking for a 2-drop, but if I find a 1-drop, that's perfectly fine as well. I get unfortunate. I pick up the Dance of Death. And I pick up that Dance of Death is actually not bad because if he is adding me, then it's great. I pick up the second 1-drop. I'm like, cool. All right, so here's the first thing. Not playing the Ambling Wraith. You want to go ahead and play out the Goblin. Like this matters a lot more when you're going second, but just in general, you want to go ahead and play out the unit that can't actually do damage the turn it comes out because you want that unit to be able to hit face as much as humanly possible, just to make up for the fact that it can't deal damage immediately. Like the Ambling Grave will always do its 1 damage every single time. Like you play it, it'll do the damage unless of course they have like Alta and play, but that's whatever. Yeah. So you want to go ahead and definitely go ahead and space that out correctly first, because I see people do it a lot of times, just go like Ambling Wraith first. That's never correct. I don't think that's correct. But anyway, moving on. So I already have like the dream hand of like next turn I'm gonna be able to go double 1-drop. He can't contest. Like he can develop something. But yeah. So this turn, this is also another important turn. I develop more bodies as opposed to playing the highest mana cost thing first. If you're playing like say mid-range or like control or whatever, then yeah, playing out the highest mana cost thing first is better. But if you're aggro, you want to be able to get in a lot of creatures in play at once, because like you do that to make their creature removal like inefficient. Like if he plays at a 2-drop here now, I just go ahead and mow him down. Like if he plays a removal spell, I mow him down. Like, but I have 3 creatures in play now. If he uses a removal spell, he gets rid of one of these, so I lose like 1/3 of my damage. But if I play up the Urias and he uses Zombie Party instead, I lose 50% of my damage. That's a very, very big number when you're trying to play aggro and you're trying to kill these guys before like turn 6. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and play out my Ambling Wraith. I'll be able to hit him for 3 this turn. That's very, very good. I'm off to the races. This is a very, very good start. Like, because it's going to take him all before he can like deal with support. So here he plays out Soul Squash. I'm like, okay, that's whatever. I'm just going to ignore that. I'm just going to go face. So I pick up the Razor Claw. Yeah, the correct play here is just ignore it and go face. I want to Razor Claw other things he plays, but like his 2/2 is just a 2/2. It doesn't matter anything at all to me. So here, we're in a great spot, because here what I'm expecting to happen is I'm expecting to get, bump into one of my 1/2s, which he already just did. And here I'm expecting to develop a creature. Now if he develops Lurching Corpse or Bellinus, I'm in a little bit of trouble. But if he develops like say another Soul Squasher, this is amazing, because this means I can go ahead and just Razor Claw Soul Squasher in order to protect my board, and then bump in my Urias into his 2/1. So I do that. I still have 3 creatures in play. Whatever I pick up off the top, as long as it costs 2 mana or less, I can go and play it. I can go and play it out that turn, and I'll be living. Like I guess this will be a great board. He still can't deal with this entire board. He's gonna start taking some chip damage from Urias, and this is gonna be like amazing. Alright, so here he plays with the Bellinus. So again, like this is difficult, but it's not like the worst thing, because like the reason why the Bellinus is difficult is because I have no idea which way the Bellinus is going to swing. Ideally for me, if the Bellinus hits either of my 1/2s, that's the best possible outcome, because I already know that if it hits that, though I can just do instead is I can just go ahead and just it's just still make the trade I was going to make, but this way I don't have to worry about the Urias dying, because Urias is cash money versus Shadow. It's cash money versus Shadow, because all those like units that they would like to play, like say for example Bone Chimera and things like that, like suddenly they become detriments, because suddenly you take 3 damage for playing at your 3-drop. Yeah, good joke, buddy. but this is fine. Like, the other best possible card for me to draw here is Night Horde. If I pick up Night Horde, that's amazing. But here, I don't pick up the Night Horde. I instead pick up the Summon Bloodkin, which does unfortunately hit my Urias. So now, instead of like trading in the Urias, I have to go ahead and make this trade first. This is why it's always important to go ahead and do certain things like this, but before you make your trades. So this way, if something like goes wrong, you can go ahead and like trade differently. So I'm gonna go ahead and trade my Ambling right here, I believe. Yep. I'm going to play out the Urias, and then of course I'm going to play up some Bloodkin. So here right now, again, I'm in a great spot. Like, none of my creatures are evolved. He doesn't have the shadows to go ahead and do something like say Soul Squasher, because again, he also just played on our Soul. He also just played out a Soul Squasher. So the best possible play for him to have here is Series of the Night. He has Series of the Night. Oh, I have a Dance to Death for your series. Haha, yeah. So ideally for me, the best possible play is for him to play Series. He plays out the Series, he heals for 2, but in reality, he's healing for 0 because I'm just going to Dance to Death next turn, and I'm just going to be able to evolve and go face to something. So even though I'm in the part of the game where I'm in top deck mode, like I gotten so much of the early game chip damage that I need that literally like that if I just like top deck like pretty much anything, as long as it does damage, he dies. Like straight, he's just dead. So here, he evolves the Series, like I said. This is good for me. This is actually great for me, because yeah, like, sure, he kills the Urias, but the Urias already did this job. They already got, 2 damage, so that was perfectly good. Well, really 4 damage, but yeah. So here I just go and Dance to Death him. I pick up the Karabos. Now, the picking up the Karabos is insane, because this means that I, like, even though I'm top decking, I have one of the best possible top decks that they can have as aggro, because now every single turn I draw 2 cards. Here he goes Lurching Corpse, which is a misplay, because like he goes for the Demon Eater RNG. That's bad, because unless you hit this 3/4, you're gonna be in some awkward spots. Because yeah, sure, like he gets a 1/1, but a 1/1 is significantly less scary than this 3/4, which does half your remaining HP. And I'm aggro, like, and I'm blood. Like, do you really expect me to not have the damage? I mean, granted, I don't have the damage to kill him this turn, but now he's on a permanent timer because I have the Karabos. He's at 1. He needs to be able to heal this turn. That's impossible. He needs to be able to not only heal, but also clear off my Karabos. My Karabos is unevolved, so he can't actually clear it off. So yeah, so now he's just dead. Like, just nothing you can do. Like, the big part about that game is again, I went first. I also went ahead and like spaced out my creatures correctly, and like we just got there. Like, picking up the Karabos would just like seal the space, but there were so many different cards that I could top deck that would have killed them. So many. Alright, on to the next game. This game was also interesting, and like I said, like these 2 first games, these are like the games that made me go like, wow, I really want to go ahead and just like share it with you guys, because it was so funny. Well, I mean, funny for me, not for him, obviously, because when you dead to aggro, that's not funny at all. Alright, so again, this game I'm going first. Alright, so this time I go ahead and I full keep the hand. Granted, to be quite honest with you, throwing back the Urias is actually perfectly okay versus Runecraft, because Runecraft doesn't play any creatures. So like, so the only reason why you're keeping the Urias is because they're keeping the Urias because the Urias has like a high base HP, which is good versus Runecraft, because when they don't have K-Glows, they need to be able to use Wind Blast to clear it, because again, we're gonna go ahead and assume he's D-Shift. But if he has a K-Glow, that's bad for you if you play out the Urias. So the Urias is actually not a 2-drop. You actually play it out on like 3 or later. Alright, so I go ahead and full keep the hand. So like last game, I'm just gonna go ahead and develop the Goblin first. But next turn, like I said, because I know that I'm not gonna play out the Urias on 2, because I don't want it to get K-Glowed, because again, if it gets K-Glowed, that means I'm losing 50% of my damage output. I want to be able to retain as much damage as possible going into each of my turns. Just this way, I'm not losing damage, and I can go ahead and end the game faster. Like, it's one of those little things that like it adds up. Like you might not notice it at first because it's only like 1 damage, but that shit does add up. Alright, so it's his turn. He's probably going to play Insight, but in actuality, he plays Commence Experiment. So when he played out the Commence Experiment, I now knew that he 100% had the Golem Assault in his hand, and I knew that was going to be his turn 3 play. So I knew that I had to put myself into a position in order to be able to play around that as best as possible. Picking up the Razor Claw is good. It's actually great. I could also go ahead and use the Demonic Strike as well if I want to, just based off what I pull out next. But here, again, not playing the Urias, I'm going to play up the Summon Bloodkin. I play the Summon Bloodkin because, yeah, he could go ahead and have Magic Missile, and I've effectively, like, doubled the and I've effectively doubled the amount of outs he can have. However, I retain the most possible damage in play. If I pick up a 1-drop, I can go ahead and just go 1-drop plus Furious next turn, and I'll be perfectly fine. So again, play out the Sun Blood Kid, I go face for 1. He has a magic missile like I expected. That's fine. It's perfectly fine, because if he had Kegler, the Kegler would have been much worse. So here, when I pick up the Night Horde, I'm like, yes, cool, GG, friend. Because like I said, because he played the Commence Experiment, the Commence Experiment on 1, I know with 100% certainty that he wants to play out this Golem Assault on 3. Because playing out the Golem Assault on 3, it's a giant roadblock to aggro, because like they need to be able to use some removal spell in order to deal with it. However, unfortunately for him, Bloodcraft is one of those aggro decks that has possibly the best like creature removal tools, because a lot of the creature removal tools also allow you to develop at the same time. So I go ahead and I hit him for 2 more. He thinks for a second, makes the Golem Assault play like I expected, but because I had the bat in play already, bam, easy, done, GG. Because now he gets Night Horded, his creature dies from full. I go ahead and go face for 3. This Furious is about to get 1 more damage, because next turn if he wants to do anything, he has to play out Magic Owl. He hasn't spell boosted enough to make a lot of like impressive plays. So this turn we're just gonna see him like do a whole bunch of like silly things. But here when he plays with the Ogre, I'm like, oh no, oh no. The reason why I'm going oh no is because like if he has multiple Oglers, this completely ruins whatever it was I was going to do, and now it's gonna be like a super mega race now, because like the Oglers actually outpace the damage I'm doing, and he can actually catch up in damage very quickly. I mean, granted, we know for a fact that I have 9 damage in hand, but it's gonna take me a little while in order to like get out all that damage all at once. I also have to worry about getting Dariad, but he doesn't have it. So this turn, I just go ahead and I just keep developing. I make sure to go ahead and develop this turn. So this way, he can't do anything funny. He can't like develop more creatures. He has to be terrified about my board state. So here, I go ahead and I just make all these trades. So to be quite honest with you, when he chose to trade into the bat, I should have expected that he actually had they actually did in fact have the Kegler in his hand finally. So to be quite honest with you, if you don't have the burn, the correct play is actually to evo one of these bats instead, because he's gonna go ahead and Kegler the bat. If you Kegler the bat, you can go ahead and like hold the bat if you like as a 1-drop in order to pair with Vanya in order to get a free like 1 PP 1 damage in conjunction with Vanya, like I said. But instead, I don't really care because it's checkmate. Like I'm just gonna go face. I'm also going to go ahead and burn his face as well. So this turn, he needs to be able to kill me, or he needs to be able to heal for at least 2 while clearing my entire board. That's physically impossible, so he's just dead. But of course, he has to go out with a bang and a boom. Because here, he starts doing some stuff, plays out Magic Owl. The Magic Owl is scary, because as we know, like we know 100% because he played out the Ogler that he's in fact playing Dariad. So now we have the question, does he have the Dariad in hand? I mean, granted, like I said, it doesn't matter because he's dead, but like, he did in fact have the Dariad. I'm like, okay, alright. With a bang and a boom. Banishes 3, draws 5, picks up the second Ogler, so holy shit. Like, granted, he's effectively at 1 because like he left 2 creatures alive, so if I had literally any 1 damage, he would have died, so I had a lot of draws to get that 1 damage. However, if I didn't have that 1 damage here right then and now, I actually was gonna die here, because let's see, he has a total of 19 damage in play. If you include his evolve, but nope, doesn't get lucky because demonic strikes are a card. Yeah. So again, the big part about that game was just making sure to develop multiple creatures when I had the option to, as opposed to just like developing whatever the biggest static minion in my hand was. Like as aggro, you want to develop the biggest static minions when it's like absolutely completely safe for you to do so. Like for example, like sometimes playing Kara on 6 is actually incorrect. Like sometimes you want to go ahead and play it out on maybe 7 if you get the chance to do so. Not because of, you want to be able to play more cards, because ideally if you're playing Kara, you want to be able to play it on an even mana count, but just because like sometimes the board state might not be feasible for you to develop it in. And so, going on to the next game. Oh, hey look, they're serious, PogChamp. Alright, so for this game, like I said, I'm also going first, so this is, pretty fortunate for me that I was able to get for the first like 5 games in a row. Alright, so again, I'm versus Runecraft again. I'm just gonna go ahead and submit Daria just because Daria is the most popular. So I go ahead and I toss back the Raging Club. I keep the Blood Wolf. I keep the Curse Mirror Vampire just because 1-drops are cool, and Storm Damage is also cool. So again, I've also picked up the Ambling Wraith. So with the hand that I have, technically, to be quite honest with you, playing up the Ambling Wraith is actually the most correct line here. The reason why it's correct this time as opposed to last time is because if we look at my hand, we can see that like all of these are really, with the exception of the Curse Parent, all of these are really bad Keglo targets for him. So if he unfortunately has Keglo and he Keglos any of these, that's perfectly fine for me because that just means more damage that he takes to the face. Whereas if I play at the Curse Brand, it means I can safely always Keglo this and not get punished. However, because I also have the Blood Wolves, I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Like, if he Keglos it, he Keglos it, I don't care. Because the Keglo on that is the Keglo not being used on my Blood Wolf. Well, granted, like I said, like the Keglo on the Blood Wolf doesn't actually matter. Plays that Insight, thus confirming that's Daria. Or just a Memer, but probably just Daria. Or sorry, but probably just D-Shift. Alright, so here I gotta play the Blood Wolf. I pick up the Dance of Death. Dance of Death is actually not bad versus D-Shift, just because like it is 2 damage. Like the 2 damage is actually kind of relevant. It's just, you know, last Hail Mary. He has the Magic Missile, making me sad, but that's fine. The Magic Missile is not a Keglo, which is fine. Here I go ahead and play out the Urias. So this is another big thing. When you play aggro, you want to play your storm units last. Like the reason why you will play your storm units last is just because like your creatures that don't have storm, like they have summoning sickness. Like they have summoning sickness. They have summoning sickness, which you don't know is basically just like I can't attack the turn I'm cast. Like, so you want to be able to do that first, so this way they can always go ahead and attack. Like if he wants to use removal on this, that's fine. I don't care. Like go ahead, use your removal. That's fine. Because that means less removal being used on my storm units. Because like if he uses removal here and has a follow-up removal spell, that puts me in an awkward spot. But if he uses removal here but doesn't have removal for the next unit, that's perfectly good for me because that means that the unit with storm is going to make up the damage for the unit that does not have storm, and that's perfectly fine. That's where you want to be at. Again, play out the Ambling Wrath here. So now I have 3 different creatures in play. With his mana, he can only remove 1 of them. So I'm expecting him to probably have a Keglo here and use the Keglo on the Urias, which is fine. If he does that, I just go ahead and replay the Urias. I play out the Blood Wolf next. I drop him down to 11, and I'll be perfectly fine. If he has the Windblast here, that's fine too. Like it's basically, you know, the same exact thing, except now I have 1 less creature. Instead, he has to use a Windblast for 2. I'm like, ha ha, yeah, got him. All right, so here I pick up the Influencer, and this is another big thing. When you're playing aggro, you want to be able to count the damage you have in your hand. Like you just always want to be like hand fanning, just like scanning that in order to figure out exactly what it is that you need to do in order to set lethal. So we can see from my hand that I have 7 damage at hand because I'm always going to use an evolve on this most likely, and this does 2 damage. So right now we know that he's at 11. So now we know that I only need to get in 4 more damage before he's dead without using Evo, which is certainly very likely because this Urias is probably going to live. It's probably going to deal 1 damage. But yeah, so like this turn, I'm expecting to have like Magic Owl plus let's say Magic Missile. So there's the Missile, and then when he plays the Fate, like I breathe a deep sigh of relief because this means I'm not dead this turn, which means I get to cash in more damage. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and go summon Bloodkin, and this turn, I'm also going to evolve my Urias. So you might be questioning, why did you evolve your Urias, Nandra? Like, isn't evolving your Ambling Wrath better in order to make him want to like Keglo it? I make the evolve like this because again, as we can see, I only needed a few more damage in order to kill him. Like right now, because I have the bats in play, he needs to be able to clear every single unit or else he dies. Because right now I'm about to put him to 7, so now he has to clear everything. Literally everything. If he plays at a creature, I want him to, if he plays at a creature, to always take the damage. Like I don't want to give him Mini Chimera as an out. Like if he plays a Mini Chimera, he can always kill this because it'll be at if it was at like 4 HP or lower. So I want to make sure that he 100% takes the damage from the series in order to guarantee that they have lethal next turn. Again, if he wants to go and Keglo it, that's fine. I don't care. Because if he's using a Keglo, that means he's not doing other things. So here he plays the Sorcerer Cache, Into Fire Embrace, I'm like, okay. Into Fate's Hit, I'm like, okay, please don't pick up an L, please. No, thank you. Into the K-Glow, but this is fine. Like, the damage is done because he's dead. Like, I have my two creatures in play, and yeah, bam, boom, done. So again, like for this one, the big thing is just, you know, making sure that I deploy the creatures as correctly as possible, and also putting them into a very, very awkward spot. Alright, so for the last game, this is actually me a game in the mirror. So like, playing aggro mirrors playing mirrors in general are very difficult and pretty skill intensive. In particular for the aggro mirror, just because like the aggro blood mirror is basically about like who has more resources. And if you're playing stuff like Venom Fang Medusas, you're going to be very, very favored. If you're playing stuff like Scarlet Sabura, again, very, very favored. Additionally, it does help if you go first or if you go second. So here, I go ahead and I toss back the Demonic Strike. I make sure to toss back the Demonic Strike because I don't want to have the Demonic Strike in my hand early, just because like I'm only going to want it if I'm like winning by like a landslide. Otherwise, it's a very, very overcost removal spell for me to have right now. If I were able to like pick up like say a Razor Claw instead, that'd be much better. Just because like the Razor Claws, I can use those to go ahead and trade resources on the board. I keep the Sun Bloodkin as well because I'm going first. I want to be able to punish any single 2-drop play he makes. So I go ahead, I re-pick up the Demonic Strike, making me sad, but this is fine. So here he plays as Ambling Wraith. I'm like, okay. Alright, so now when I pick up the second Curse Parent Vampire, I have to start doing some thinking. So it doesn't matter what play I make here. Every single play I make, I always get punished by Hungering Horde, but I have to choose which is more likely for me to want to have happen. For me to get possibly punished by a Hungering Horde, which might not even be in his deck, or to be able to set myself up in a way that I can go ahead and make some like very, very nice value trades next turn. Because next turn he wants to maybe say play Blood Wolf. If he plays Blood Wolf, he has to trade into one of these. Oh, sorry, he's not gonna trade into one of these 1/2s. But I'm gonna make it so he's gonna like want to trade into one of these 1/2s. I can go ahead and double bump into his Ambling Wraith in order to clear it, because like in the aggro matchup, it's not about going face. It's about like building the board while going face. Like, because eventually, unless all of your units have Storm, like you want to be able to get in repetitive damage. Like that's how you like succeed as aggro. So I go ahead and I play up the Curse Parent Vampire, just because I don't think he has Hungering Horde. If he has Hungering Horde, he has it. I make sure to not trade this turn, so this way I don't tell him exactly what it is I plan to do. But he makes the trade for me, which is great, because like him making that trade was bad, because I was always going to make that trade. Like, he definitely should have just gone face. So now I get to go ahead and get one more additional damage while denying him 1 damage because he chose to trade. I can go ahead and I'm also just going to go ahead and ignore the Vanya. The Vanya doesn't mean anything to me, because like the only terrifying card with the Vanya is the Night Horde. Like, if he's not playing the Night Horde, I don't need to care. He's 1 mana behind me, so he cannot actually play the Night Horde yet. So next turn will be the turn where I choose if I'm going to go ahead and decide if I'm going to deal with the Vanya. Now, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and do that, but he doesn't need to know that yet. So I go ahead and I also develop the Sun Bloodkin here. So this is the other big part about when you're playing aggro. When you're playing aggro, the more creatures you have is basically a bigger sign for you as to whether or not you should trade or whether or not you should not trade. If you have more creatures, you have the luxury of being able to decide whether or not you get to trade. But if you have less creatures, you probably want to trade. But here I have 5 creatures in play. So I have 5 creatures in play. It's turn 3. That means I'm probably winning this game. Just because, like, even though I'm basically in top deck mode, I have more creatures in play. As aggro, you always want to have more creatures in play than your opponent. So I go ahead and I go face for 2. Like I said, I also made the value trade just because the value trade was going to be very, very good. If he has Hungering Horde here, then yeah, cool, you got me. But if he doesn't, he's in a rough spot. So here he plays a Disagreeable Demon, which is great for me because he also makes a value trade, thinking he's going to win. But thankfully, I get to use my Demonic Strike here. Being able to use this Demonic Strike was insane. The reason why is because I now know where I have to make trades. I still control more creatures than he does, and this is before we get into the evolve phase. When we get into the evolve phase, because he's already 1 Vanya down, this means that he has less options to go ahead and make a whole bunch of creatures in play. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bump into into the Vanya now. The reason why I'm going to do that is because the Vanya outpaces anything I want to be able to do this turn by a lot. Because he can just go ahead and evolve the Vanya and go face. If he does that, that's 5 damage before he even plays plays like a Nighthorde. If he has a Nighthorde on top of that, I just took 7 damage and now he's outpacing me, or now he's on parity with me with number of creatures in play. I don't want that to happen because, as you can see, I have a very, very big lead in play. I want to go ahead and be able to maintain the lead for as long as possible. I make sure to trade in the Curse Brand because in this matchup, or as well as most matchups, the number of bats you have in play are very, very important because you can always use the bats with Nighthorde. So I go ahead, I trade, I go ahead and go face for 3. And now next turn, I'm most likely just going to use the Vanya and evolve over whatever it is he plays. So here he does in fact have the Summon Bloodkin into a Curse Brand Vampire, into an Ambling Wrath. So now I'm like, shit, that's a lot of creatures, that's bad. Because now he's actually outpacing me with the number of creatures in play. However, I do have the HP advantage, which is actually very, very relevant because neither one of us has very, very good heals. Well, he might have heals, but I definitely don't. I pick up the Summon Bloodkin, and now I'm just like, cool. So I know a lot of you guys might be like, okay, well Nandro, why don't you just go ahead and just, go Dance to Death this turn. I want to go ahead and save Dance to Death for bigger targets, as well as the fact of Dance to Death is in fact a tempo loss. I cannot afford to take a tempo loss now, because this is in the really, really crucial parts of this game where every single point of damage is going to matter. Like, and having all these creatures in play is going to matter. So I go ahead and I just I make double trades. Now, to be quite honest with you, you don't actually have to make the second trade if you don't want to, but I choose to do so just because, again, I have more creatures in play. I have the luxury of being able to just kind of dictate trades. I want to be able to dictate as many trades as possible, because if he can't actually like trade back into something well, he's gonna put him in a really, really awkward spot. So I go ahead and evolve. I get my 3 damage. Here he plays Venom-Fang Medusa. So the Medusa is actually one of the things I was talking about when I said that, like, that there are certain things in this mirror that actually kind of swing it in your favor. Like, him having the Venom-Fang Medusa is something that I did not account for at all, because now this puts me in an awkward spot. Now this means that I have to top deck a 3 damage spell very, very quickly if I want to win, because I'm very, very close to killing, but not quite there yet. Because this turn I have 6 damage. So if I can find the Razor Claw, if I can find the Demonic Strike, this will be great. But if I don't find it, or if I don't find Carabos in order to dig for that, that'll put me in a very, very awkward spot. I find the Ambling Wraith though, which is great. And so here, this turn, I just go for broke. I go ahead and I use my Demonic Strike. Sorry, not Demonic Strike. I go ahead and use my Dance of Death here. I go ahead and I make trades and I go ahead and put him down to 2. I put him down to 2 specifically because I haven't used any Blood Wolf yet, so I always have Blood Wolf isn't out, Razor Claws isn't out, 2 Demonic Strikes isn't out, Carabos is out. So that leaves me with about 11 outs in my 30 card deck. So I have about a 1 in 3 to find lethal next turn. That's pretty good odds. Or sorry, it's actually better than 1 in 3. It's because I also have two Implanters as well. Yeah, so it's actually very, very close to about a 50% chance. 50% chance is pretty good. Like, that's like winning a coin toss. I've won a lot of coin tosses this game. We won the coin toss. Nice. Yeah, and I go ahead and just check his space. I'm able to kill him. So again, the big part of this game is just, playing as aggressively as possible while also trying to factor in and do kind of, risk management and kind of like evaluate exactly what it was that he was most likely to have in his hand, and just how often I could go face versus when I had to actually trade, as well as just the fact of just realizing when it was that I had to like stop making trades and just go for game, because as we can see, I was in top deck mode. He still had more cards than me, which was like in an extended game he's probably going to win unless I can top deck like a god. But as we all know, I have very, very poor top deck skills. So I just decided I was gonna go, for a Hail Mary, just go for game. Because I knew at that point that I had so many different cards that had so many different outs for lethal that he wasn't gonna be able to catch up. If you enjoyed the video, go and leave a like, go and hit the subscribe button. I definitely had a lot of fun, recording these games. And just because like I know like aggro is more like is a pretty well, I'm not gonna say it's like hard, but it's definitely harder than people tell you it is, just because like you have to understand the nuances of both creature deployment as well as when to go ahead and make trades and when to go face. That's a very important skill set to have. If you enjoyed the video, go and leave a like and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys.